Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Rise of Kingdoms gameplay from your very own Shappy Gaming. Today we are going to be talking about a very exciting announcement that Lilith made, and that is the Birth of Spring update. So if you haven't checked your mail already, be sure to check your mail and read it. But there are some highlights in this update that will be a big deal and could potentially be game-changing. So let's get into it. First things first, there is the spring event coming. So what that means for you is that you will want to be saving up some AP so you can kill some barbs so that you can claim whatever different points you will need and fireworks you'll need in order to spend them on the event. My hunch is that this event will probably be the kind that you get 30 gold heads to potentially buy, and my guess is that there's going to be copper tokens as well as something else that you can throw in and buy that. So you might want to be hoarding up some gems as well. It might be worth doing. It also looks like we have our prepare food for a heartwarming meal. So this is probably akin to the Thanksgiving feast event where we're going to sit around and gather that once we reach a certain level. There may be trading of different ingredients for different things that you would do in game, like training troops or gathering in the field or gathering in your city, etc. So you're going to want to be pretty active during those days. Just something to keep in mind. It looks like our lucky red packet is coming back. So those of you that don't know what this event is, the way it works, at least in the past, is someone will open a lucky red packet. It'll show up in your chat down here. And what that means for you is if you can click it fast enough, I think it's 5 people. If you click it fast enough, you can get some great rewards, gems, speed ups, resources, all good stuff. Looks like we have Protect the Supplies. So my hunch is this is the independent version of Silk Road. Fairly easy. You definitely want to do it. I'm sure it'll give you some copper tokens that you can use. And arms training. Challenge Arms Master Lohard. This is always a good one. The rewards for both of these are pretty good, so you're going to want to save up some AP. You may want to pop a 50% buff, and if you're in KVK, take advantage of those KVK buffs. So I'm sure we'll hear some more about that as we get closer. But the more exciting things that we're going to be talking about are the Tempest Clash event, as well as the new building, which is the museum. So the Tempest Clash event seems to finally take place on the ocean. We've seen ROK promos, which crack me up. If you haven't seen them, be sure to watch some of them that show ocean battles. We've seen Lilith talk about ocean battles, and it seems we're finally going to get them. And it looks like this is going to be kind of like a Battle of Olympia. And so I'm super excited. Be sure to read through this if you haven't already. It looks like your city hall must be level 7 at least. That's not too bad. I think that most people probably have that at this point. So not too bad. And the important thing here is that battle is entirely different from land-based warfare. And you will not need rage. And it's just mastery of the warships. And so it should be really interesting. It looks like power might not matter. Equipment might not matter. So it could be a mini game to play that you want to check out. And my hunch is they'll probably give you some sort of coins that you could spend on gold heads or gems or otherwise, as we've seen with previous new features and functionalities of Rise of Kingdoms. Okay, so if you've been ignoring me up until now is the time to pay attention. So the most important thing I think in this update is the new city building, and that is the museum. And so let's talk a little bit about what the museum means for you. So the first thing I'll point out here is after the Season of Conquest has begun. So this is predominantly for kingdoms after Season of Conquest. If you're in Light versus Dark, or if you're in KVK2, it's not going to happen for you. But the exciting part about this is that the museum has a total of 14 exhibits, each belonging to a different legendary commander. Cough, cough, old commanders. So these commanders can be leveled up using something called exhibit coins. And exhibit coins buy relics, and you use relic coins to provide commanders with powerful buffs. So that's a lot to unpack right there. First, exhibit coins and relics. This seems like Lilith saying, we're going to sell you guys some more bundles to buy. So if you spend in this game, this is a really good opportunity for you to be potentially leveling up some of these old commanders that you most likely have maxed and maybe make them usable again. So that could be really exciting. Now, if you're free to play, and this is my biggest concern, is that we need opportunities for free to play or low spend to be able to get these relics without having to spend money on them. And so I'm really, really concerned that this is going to make a big difference for whales and for those that want to run their Mina cow again, but not for the little guys or the people that are grinding it out. So I'm a little concerned about that, but I guess we'll find out how that happens. Now, the other thing that's interesting here is that the first batch of commander exhibits in the museum are Cal, Minamoto, Ethelfled, Hannibal, Richard, Charles, El Cid, YSG, Mulan, Ragnar, Mehmed, Frederick, Julius Caesar, and Charlemagne. I know all of you are going to go for Charlemagne. No. The thing I will point out here, though, is that all of these are KVK1 commanders, but more importantly, if we take a little trip over to the daily special offer here, you'll see that a lot of those commanders are in here. Frederick, Martel, Richard, Caesar, Mehmed, Mulan, Cao. And so my guess is that the whole reason that this is being instituted is not only to bring the KVK1 commanders back, but to also encourage people to spend money on those dailies. So I am curious to see if that helps. But what's really interesting to me here is that some of these commanders are actually pretty useful. Cao and Mina, that used to be the main pair that you'd see in the field. And Cao actually is a phenomenal secondary to Saladin. And so if you're running Saladin Cao, maybe you can get some relic buffs to help your Cao out, and that's not bad. Let's see, what else do we have here? Ethelfled, if you run mixed, Ethelfled getting her buffed might not be too bad. Ethelfled Joan is a pretty good support march. Richard. So I have feelings about Richard. A lot of people think that he is not as he used to be, but I've had plenty of battles this KVK where I've been running Cavs or Archers, and Richard has done really well. So buffing Richard might be really interesting, and I'm excited to see how that happens. And probably the one I personally am most excited about is Martel. And the reason for that is that Martel, Theo, was the original Attila breaker. And Martel is actually a really robust commander. He's got health buffs, he's got march speed buffs, and he's got counterattack damage. So I'm very curious to see how he can be stronger. YSG, Nebu YSG is already a super strong field march, so are they going to make it even stronger? Is that going to be the new field meta that you want to run? Could be. And then we have the leadership commanders. Nothing terribly exciting there, but just something to keep in mind. Then we have here, during Season of Conquest, governors from different kingdoms will own different commanders, resulting in an imbalance of commander power among governors. So we actually talked about this at the beginning of this KVK. In that 2120 is significantly younger than the Imperium's 1486 and 1484. And so having some balance will be really interesting as we proceed into the Season of Conquest and see some of these younger, more active kingdoms come into play. And last but not least, the update you've been waiting for. The Lost Kingdom Desert Conquest, coming soon, 2 weeks after the update. And this update, I believe, is scheduled to come out within the next couple weeks. So this is really interesting to me. I remember when there was a KVK that came out fairly recently that had a similar structure. So I'll read through this for you. We followed the trail of our predecessors in search of incalculable treasure buried deep underground. Okay, sure. That's interesting. Love the story. Kingdoms taking part in Season of Conquest will now have the chance to play through an all-new story, Desert Conquest, through the Pioneer event. In the story, governors will experience a new Lost Kingdom with unique fortress buildings and prestige systems. Governors from all camps will have to get to grips with all new gameplay to devise a strategy for victory. Okay, so that already sounds interesting. Desert Conquest, wonder how that's going to change. Are we going to see new obstacles? If you guys remember this KVK, Rivers, mountains, they became incredibly problematic when it came to territory. So maybe we'll have pyramids and stuff like that. Sea of Death. So the Desert Conquest story incorporates the Sea of Death terrain. So as we've heard before, they want to encourage more ocean combat. Are we going to be seeing this here as well? A realm separated by a vast mountain range, entirely devoid of research points and barb forts. That could be good, could be bad. Means that you're going to have a harder time running away from combat if we're allowed to fight there. But it does look like governors cannot teleport or build in the Sea of Death, in theory. Colossi. The colossal statues around the Sea of Death will grant bonuses and significant prestige upon occupation. So is this similar to the Dark Altars that we see today? Is they're going to be battling over this, or is this going to be more of a circle? I don't know, but I'm really curious to find out. Um, you know, and how big are these bonuses going to be? Are they going to make the difference in who wins or loses KVK? The other thing we see here that's really interesting to me is prestige. A significant prestige upon occupation. In prior KVKs, we've had honor. Honor has been what's really mattered. But is prestige the new honor? Who knows? Number 4, fortresses. So there are two types of fortresses in the Sea of Death, the Desert Fortress and the Ancient Fortress, both of which can be occupied by any camp. Governors must make good use of these two fortifications to progress strategically through the barren waste and occupy more passes, colossi, and holy sites. So this sounds a lot like light versus dark in Desert Fortress and Ancient Fortress, but how can any camp occupy either? Are they going to have different buffs? Is one going to be better during the day? Is one going to be better during the night? I don't know. I am very curious and excited to see what that actually looks like. Generals. A story-specific role acting as manager of a fortress. Any coalition member can choose to assemble their troops at a fortress, which will grant the overseeing general the right to garrison, assemble, and dispatch such troops within as he or she sees fit. This is potentially the biggest change to Rise of Kingdoms that we've seen thus far. Everyone's been there. A whale goes offline, and you can't use his troops, you can't use his commanders, you can't do anything. But now we have something called generals. And if your general's always online, in theory, that means you can be fighting 24/7, right? Well, what happens if you get a general that just decides to kill all your troops? This could be a really good improvement to the game, or it could be a really challenging improvement to the game. I'm excited to see how it works, but I am a little concerned. Prestige. We do get our answer here. So your prestige score is a composite of your individual prestige, honor, coalition prestige, honor, and camp prestige, honor. Wow. So we've renamed prestige. We've renamed honor to prestige. So that's not surprising. However, you do get prestige from killing and severely wounding enemy troops. So it seems that they've changed from honor in that you can actually get it from fighting, which is kind of nice. You don't get people farming all throughout KVK, or at least in theory. And you do have the Crusader achievements coming back. The question is, are the Crusader achievements going to be as good as the existing ones? And are we going to see our coins again? I don't know. Also, honor roll leaderboard. Do you mean prestige roll leaderboard? Because there's been no mention of honor thus far. Healing potions. They're a new resource type in the story and can be given by camps to governors or 1v engagements against enemy forces. So governors will have the option of healing severely wounded units in the hospital through these healing potions. So it seems that gone are the days where we're all complaining about healing, right? No, probably not. My guess is that these healing potions are going to be another way for Lilith to say, buy these, spend your money, and we'll give you them in exchange. But it does look nice that they can be given to governors, given by camps to governors. That should be nice for free-to-play and for the non-whales who likely won't be able to afford them. But I'm telling you now, you put a bet on it, I think this is going to be something you can buy. And we hope that this story will be a unique experience. I'm hopeful too, and I'm really excited. And last but not least, we have some Osiris League Grand Finale improvements. I don't necessarily think I want to talk about those, but The last couple things, it looks like we've got some more Ceroli changes. Nothing too game-changing there. This one's pretty important. Blueprints of legendary accessories, Greatest Glory, and Concealed Dagger are now available in the Holy Knight Treasure event. This is monumental. So we've all been there, didn't want to play KVK, and haven't gotten the dagger. This is huge because, as we know, the Concealed Dagger is one of the best equipment in the game. So if you can now get it through the Holy Knight's Treasure event, that means that you're going to spend more money on it, woo for Lilith, and it's going to be more accessible for everyone, which is nice. It also means that we may see people spending their KVK coins slightly differently. And aside from that, it doesn't look like we have anything else exciting going on in this update. So I hope that you're as excited as I am. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. If you have any questions, concerns, post them in the comment section below. I hope that you have enjoyed. I'm excited about the museum, and I know who I'm going to work on. Who are you going to work on? Let me know. Shappy out.